Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. You know our next guest, very famous poster on MD, Get Big, just an all-around good guy, bodybuilding fan, bodybuilder, celebrity online, Big Mike Cox. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. That was the best introduction I ever had. You could be at my funeral and give my eulogy with that.
I can do better. I can do better.
Great, man.
If I have a little time, I'll come up with something even cooler for you. Well,
appreciate it.
I have Mike on today, people, because we have a very historic event coming up in Las Vegas, just over 2 weeks away. That's right. It is the birthday party for adult film star Kendra Lust. So that's, oh no, that's not, okay. We're actually going to talk about the Olympia, which happens to it's the second biggest event in Vegas. Just kidding, everybody. Yes. The Olympia weekend. And Mike, you're going to be at the Olympia, right?
Yes, sir. I will be there. We arrive on Wednesday. So I'm just excited to go there. Take it all in, dude. I've been to the Olympia since '94.
Wow.
So we got, yes.
Was that Atlanta?
15 days left. Huh? Yeah, Atlanta.
I was there. I was at that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Sean Ray probably should have won. Laura Caval got screwed over. Great show.
That's the first year Dorian had the half a bicep?
Half a bicep. Kind of bloated. Aaron Baker got screwed over that year, too.
Oh, Aaron was always getting screwed over, that poor guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
So I did say historic, and we'll talk about the Open first because that's what most people want to talk about. So we have Phil Heath, 7 Olympias so far. I don't see anybody stopping him from tying Lee Haney and Ronnie Coleman's record of 8. Do you?
No. Listen, I think last year he won with a hernia. I guarantee double hernia. So I guarantee this year his stomach won't be an issue. I think he'll maybe even make it a point to make everybody see how flat his stomach is this year. Yeah. But if he's on and training at 100%, there's nobody's going to touch Phil. No, people let his personality affect how they view him. Right. He's not going to be appreciated till after he's retired. We're seeing 8 Olympias, dude. We can see 8. Right. That hasn't happened very often. It won't happen again for probably another 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think after Lee Haney, I didn't think I'd see again in my lifetime, and then Ronnie did it. Now Phil's going to do it. So if Phil breaks that record, I don't think any of us are going to live. Any of us who are like not infants at this time anyway are going to live to see anybody beat that record. You know, assuming there's a Mr. Olympia contest in like 50 years, who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
It might be the zombie apocalypse by then, and I could declare myself Mr. Olympia. But
there you go.
So as usual, the Rami fans are talking about Rami's going to be in the best shape of his life, and he's going to bring something different. But it's nothing personal, but I hear this every freaking year. And when's it going to actually happen? I mean, I hope to God it happens. I'd love to see 275 pound, take him down 10, 15 pounds, shredded, dry, grainy. I don't even know if he's capable of looking like that. Do you think he is?
We've seen the best of Rami. He's not going to make a Ronnie-like improvement from like 2002, 2003. Mm-hmm. This is where we're at. It's kind of like Cedric teased us just a little bit a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Rami's yet to tease us with that unbelievable condition. If he's 100% at like 275 peeled, mm-hmm. he'd be a sight to see, man. It will be one of the greatest things we could ever witness. But they want to be full. Everybody's got to be full. But Phil beats you because he's full and detailed. Yeah. You know what I mean? When they turn to the back, Rami's huge, but his flaws are become more apparent. His hips are a little wide, legs are big. He doesn't have that 3D look that Phil has, and that's where Phil kills everybody. It's one from the back. Haney did it. Ronnie did it. You know what I mean? People hate to hear it, but shows are one from the back. And Rami fans, they're worse than Jim Jones fans. They're drinking that anabolic chicken Kool-Aid, man. Like, I get it. As when you're younger, you're more emotionally invested in these guys, Yeah. Now I'm just happy to see the show. I just want to see everybody in shape. Oh. I'm not rooting for this guy or that guy. I like to see Dexter win, but I'm just going to enjoy the moment and appreciate seeing and being part of history.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see Dexter win just because, we've both been Dexter fans forever, and we followed him since I remember him as an amateur, coming up the ranks and everything. And the fact that he's still doing this at that level with these guys, it blows my mind. I think this is his 17th Olympia in a row or something ridiculous, or 18th. I don't know.
He tied Albert Beckel's record, I think, this year or last year for the most Olympias. And and I know at 40, almost 45, how I feel. You know what I mean? It's not the greatest.
Yeah. Things
hurt. But this guy is busting his ass, getting ready for the Olympia, and looks great. He hasn't faded yet. You know what I mean? So, God bless him.
So, last year he didn't get past Barnett. I don't see Barnett being worse than last year. If anything, he's probably going to be a little bit better. So, you know, a lot of people say William Barnett could be as high as second this year. I don't really argue with that. The guy's freaking very complete, thick, dense, and he's got that same 3D look and detail almost to the same level as Heath, which is so rare. Do you think he might move all the way up this year?
Here's the thing. Barnett, he was second after prejudging last year.
Wow.
So he was beating Rami. You know what I mean? So if the judges maybe voted a different way, he would have been runner-up last year.
Yeah.
He's that good. You know what I mean? He's so dense and full. He's not the widest guy, but he gets detail. Details make a huge difference, man. Yeah. When you're doing an ab thigh, like Rami, there's no separation.
Right.
You know, Barnett, you see all four heads of his quads. You know what I mean? That makes a big difference. And when you're that complete, you can beat bigger guys. I know AJ likes to call him a midget, and so does Angry Dave. But
which is odd because Dave is shorter than me and you, I believe.
Yeah, Dave's 5'3". Good day.
No,
you know what I mean? But I don't know how short guys are so visually impressive because they're just packed with muscle. All these guys are impressive. Yeah. But William Barnett I don't want to say he's almost topped out as far as size-wise, right. But he gets conditioned, and that's how you win shows. There's no doubt this guy could be second place.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm jumping ahead if I mention Flex Lewis, but, you know, Flex is going to be moving up to the Open. I really doubt he's retiring for good. He's only like 31 or 32 years old. He's still very young and at the top of his game. And, you know, people have been speculating, well, he's going to get creamed in the Open. He'd be really lucky to make top 5 at the Arnold Olympia. I think if Barnett can do as well, and I agree with you, I think Barnett could very easily be second this year. Nobody's beaten Phil.
Either.
So if Barnett could do that well, moving up from 212, Flex Lewis at 225, 230, yikes. He'll be up there too, no doubt.
With Flex, if he keeps that same condition, he's going to cause a lot of problems for these other guys. Remember, when we see him like at 4 weeks out at 220, at that weight, he looks absolutely ridiculous at that weight, man. Agreed. You know what I mean? So Flex, he could be a legit top 6 guy. You know what I mean? Barnett was a 202, 212 guy.
Yeah.
So Flex is he's a legit man. He's a legit contender when he fills out and keeps that kind of condition. Because you think about it, Dixon might not be here that much longer. Roden's getting older. Yeah. Cedric's older. Those guys, eventually we're going to have like that top 6 is going to rotate like it always does every 15 years.
Yeah.
And boom, there's Flex Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, everybody you just mentioned is over the age of 40, which, you know, years ago that was unheard of at the Olympia to see everybody except Beckles and I think, you know, Chris Dickerson were the only guys that age. Everybody else was 10, 15 years younger. You mentioned Roden. I think Roden is someone that a lot of us sleep on. I mean, the guy, you know, I looked at just to refresh my memory, I looked at his contest record. He's never been out of the top 5 at the Olympia. He's been a couple of years, 3 years ago, I think it was, he was second place. But he doesn't get a lot of hype going into these shows. It's the weirdest thing. Why do you think that is?
He's got a quiet personality. You don't see him on like, you know, talking a lot on his social media. Yeah. He posts workout videos. He just started to do some more interviews. I saw one with Jay Cutler earlier. Yeah. But he's just one of those guys that nothing really stands out. You know, there's no kind of freaky body part. He just flows well. But it's just, I don't know. He from the back, he can't be Phil. Yeah. That's the one thing that's holding him back. He also had a little bit of issues with his stomach the past couple of years. Right. But you saw last year, at first he wasn't called out, but the more he started posing, the better he got, and boom, top 6 again. You know what I mean? So you can't sleep on Roden. He's got to have that condition like he had when he won Tampa, like 5 years ago. Yeah. That kind of condition with his shape, he's going to look bigger anyway. You know what I mean? He could pose well. Presentation's phenomenal. Yeah. So he's got to be like 100% on because there's some younger guys coming up this year that if Roden's a little off, if Dexter slips, you know.
He's going to be right there. Let's first talk about some of the established guys before we get to the young dudes. But, you know, Rolly Winkler has been so close to top 5. And this, he's had issues with the Olympia where he was a little bit off. He had a gut, and he got rid of the gut. And from the Arnold this year to the Ohio to the Arnold Australia, he tightened up, what was it, like 12 pounds or something. And wow, if he brings that physique to the Olympia, I've never seen him really tight like that with a small flat midsection at the Olympia. I think that could be the key to him finally cracking that top 5 that he's been so close to. What are your thoughts on Rolly, the Dutch Beast?
He's got so much he's almost got like too much muscle. Like I've never seen a guy like he just the past couple years has just blew up, and he gets bigger every show. But bigger isn't better. Like you said, in Australia, that was a different look for him. If this guy ever gets super peeled, he could win the Mr. Olympia. He's that good. If you look at him pose for pose with Phil, Phil just got on the back, but every other pose, double bicep, lat spread, side chest, Rolly is just dwarfs him. He's that big, but he just doesn't get that crazy crisp condition. But again, all these guys, it's like, I gotta be full, I gotta be full, I gotta be full. Whereas the 212 guys, they're fucking peeled.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, we're so used to seeing those guys like on the Grand Prix shows, just shredded, cross striations on the quads, that you kind of wish these guys had that same kind of condition, because Rolly would look stupid, absolutely stupid, peeled. It would be like, remember when Rodney won in '98, nobody thought he was going to win? If Rolly shows up like that, it's going to be the same type of buzz, man.
No, wait a minute. Who are we talking about?
Yeah. 98.
Ronnie. Oh, they said Rami. The thing with Rolly, and I'm being very nitpicky, but to me it's his lack of thigh separation, his quads, that hold him back. I don't know, because I've seen the rest of him in shape. I don't think it's a condition issue. I don't know if it's genetic. It's the way he trains his legs. I mean, I've seen his videos. It looks like they all train their legs, squats, press, sack. There's no secret training methods with these guys. So I don't know if Rolly's ever going to have that deep, crisp quad separation that I think would put him much closer to beating Phil or challenging Phil anyway.
Yeah, it's wait and see. But again, what's great about bodybuilding, you get one night to get it together. Yeah. That's it. One shot, not best of 7, not best of 5, but you get one night to nail it. If you don't nail it, you got to wait 365 more days, man.
Well, little correction, it's 2 nights. And
2 nights.
It's like I believe it was last year where Roden's gut was distended on Friday night, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to be so lucky to crack top 6 this year." I honestly, after judging, on Friday night, I had him like 8th or 9th, and then Saturday night he shows up, whoop, aceto worked his magic on him, and the gut was gone, and
those guys
moved right up.
Those guys, it's amazing what they do in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like because Phil's always not 100% Friday. Correct. But come Saturday, it's crazy shit happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? So God bless him. That's hard to do. And Roden, he said he fixed the stomach, man. Yeah. He came back, and I'm like, top 6 again.
Yeah, I want to give Rolly just a little credit here, because he's the only guy that I can think of, and correct me if you can think of anyone else, that's ever reversed a gut.
Yeah.
He had a gut.
Nobody has.
It's gone. I mean, everyone else, that's it. They were stuck with it forever, as far as I know.
And it's tight now, man. It's not like it's I don't know what he did, but it's just small. And it's not distended. Maybe he's paying more attention when he's posing. Yeah. But from what it used to be, night and day.
Right. All right, Nathan to Asha. This is a guy I'm really looking forward to see, because he's hungry. I mean, he's talking shit. He's friggin' putting out videos all the time, training his ass off in Tennessee with Matt Jansen. And, this guy really wants it. He has some issues with his hamstrings. Still could be better from the side to really match the mass of everything in the back. But I don't know. He's another guy I think could surprise a lot of us if he shows up a little bigger than he was for those 2 wins in the spring, and even a little crisper than he was. Because New York, he wasn't 100%. He admits it. And even when he won in California, that wasn't 100%. We're conditioned snobs. We know what 100% is. So we're not. I don't give anyone credit for being 100% unless they really are. But
right.
I don't know. What do you think could happen if he shows up at that 100%, crispy, dry, grainy, and big?
He's a top 3. He's a top 3 Olympian, man. I said this last year that I would have had him in the top 6 last year, number 1. Yeah. But he's made some improvements. In New York, he was huge, but wasn't crisp. California, he tightened up quite a bit. Still wasn't, like you said, that crisp old school conditioning.
Yeah.
But if he brings that to the show, he's a top 3 guy. You know what I mean? Like he's like knocking on the door. Like he's this close to breaking through that top 5. Yeah. And I mean, top 3 is legitimate. You know, I know people say, "Oh, he's not that good. Rami's gonna beat him," but you know what I mean? It's just I think Nathan's got Mr. Olympia potential, man. Like I think he's that good of a bodybuilder, and it's entertaining when these guys talk shit, man. It's funny. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's just bodybuilding isn't the most exciting sport. Like we can only talk so much sets and reps and, you know, intra workout shit. Yeah. Hearing these guys go back and forth, that's funny as hell, man. Embrace it.
And it sounds funnier when he says it with his, you know, Liverpool accent for some reason.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
That's even better.
He's the only one that can call me a cheeky motherfucker. And the way he says it, I'm like, it sounds like a term of endearment.
It sounds cool.
Brandon Currie, we've been seeing these pictures out at Oxygen Gym. He's looking even rounder and thicker and fuller than ever. And he's always been like an 8th place, 9th place, 10th place guy at the Olympia. But, you know, I don't see any real weak points on the guy. I don't know if he's in condition. I don't know why he can't do better. What do you think could happen with Brandon?
Again, like he was top 5. I would have had him ahead of Roden and Dexter last year. Yeah. But with the improvements he's made over there this past few months, is insane. He literally, like, he blew up and the fat just melted off at the same time. And he's getting harder and harder and harder. And you can't, again, if some of those guys like, you know, Dexter and Roden aren't 100%, these guys can like come in and like knock the door down like the Fed's raiding you or something like that, man. Like, I think Brandon Currie is that good. It's just, you know, every few years, Ron, you know, the older guys, they either retire or start moving down, and then we get a few guys that are in there, you know, for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's a natural progression. Yeah. And I think Brandon and Nathan are the 2 guys that this year could be their year to finally break through and stay in that top 5, top 6 for like the next 5, 6, 7 years.
I'm going to give you this moment to, as a platform, to personally beseech Badar Budai to invite you to Oxygen Gym in Kuwait. So 1, 2, 3, go.
Bader, I'm here in Tampa. Hook a brother up.
Right on, man. You couldn't just drop everything and leave, could you, Mike?
Oh, God, I'll be screwed. No way. I'm home, buddy. You know, I got certain things here that I have to have every night, so.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cedric McMillian. Cedric jumped into the Toronto. I was not very impressed with his condition, but I really think he just jumped in just because he felt like he needed to. Yeah. He told Giles he feels, you know, competing keeps him on track and keeps him focused. It's weird because we've never seen him look great at the Olympia. We've seen him look pretty damn good when he won the Arnold, and last year when he won Marino, unless it was just better lighting and pictures, that might have been the best I've ever seen Cedric.
Yep.
And I'm like, why can't you bring that to the Olympia, dude? Please. You know, I don't know how much you know about it, you know, whether he's capable of doing that or not, but do you think we could finally see Cedric put it together at the Olympia for once?
I think every pro bodybuilder has that one show where they peak perfectly. You know, we could go through the years and name those guys and the year to where they finally hit it. When Cedric finally nails it, even better than the Arnold when he won, if he ever nails it, he's gonna be Mr. Olympia. Yeah. Period. Like he's that good. And I remember talking to Goon after he won the Arnold. This guy is so charismatic. Like it's sad that he doesn't have more on social media, talking or doing videos. He's hilarious. He's just a big old country boy. But he's Mr. Olympia. Like when you look at him, you're like, that's Mr. Olympia. Yeah. That is Mr. Olympia. That's how Mr. Olympia should look. Agreed. A guy that big, tall. He's not a midget. You know what I mean? Very shapely.
We gotta stop you. That's a bad word, Mike. We gotta stop saying that.
It is.
Little people.
Little people. There you go.
I mean,
but Cedric's good. It's just, you know, some guys just don't hit it. Like, you know, a lot of guys, some guys peak in March, can't peak in September. It's a lot. Listen, it's a lot on their body. He's got kids, a family, traveling. He works a military job.
I think he's.
You know what I mean?
I think he's out now, isn't he?
He's out. Yeah,
I believe he's retired.
He's retired.
I think so. I might be wrong.
He's a family man. You know what I mean? So you don't know how much he's willing to push, or you know, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't go to Kuwait for 6 months and leave his kids and, you know, his wife.
No.
But it's even a 90% Cedric is still damn good. But 100% Cedric is walking home with a sandow.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned personality, and Mr. Olympia should have this ambassador charisma about him. And I'll tell you, when he won the Arnold, the next day they did the seminar where Arnold sits on stage and interviews him. Was it Arnold or someone else? Ciccarello. I think it was Ciccarello. I'm sorry, Bob Chick. And I've been to a lot of those things, and I've left and come back because it's boring. When Cedric was doing his, it was a packed house, and people were just captivated. He was like touching, funny. It was like it was like a movie. It was really somebody you could see as representing our sport to the world in a real positive way, where it's not just a physique. Like, Phil, as we know from I've known anyway, but that interview that I did with him, I think really brought out that the way he appears on Twitter and that it's not, you can't read tone in text, and
Exactly.
He's not the jerk that people make him out to be.
No,
at all. But
it's just social media. It's social media, man. Like you can't tell tone over social media. Yeah, you can type in all caps, but you can't get sarcasm. Yeah, and listen, who goes to someone else's page and goes, "You suck"? Huh? Like you're not going to say that to him in person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's a good guy, got a good person. Like the interview it was good seeing him in a different light. You know what I mean? Not like arguing with somebody like Louis Marco after the show.
Please, baby, please. Okay. I'll just read off some guys, and I want your quick impressions. Charles Griffin from Indiana.
Thick. He's real thick, dense. I mean, he looks great by himself. The lip is a different ballgame, man. That's a totally different animal. Yeah. So if some guys are off, he may hit that top 10, but I think maybe like 12th to 13th. Yeah. But he's a freak show. He's a straight freak show, Ron. And but he's been dieting a long time too. So,
true.
You don't know how that body's going to react when you start putting the carbs back in and all the, the last minute things they do. It's not hit or miss, but it's hard to keep that condition for that long. And these guys are walking around for months like crazy shredded, So
I mean, I feel for the guys that did the spring shows because my goodness, what a long ass year. Whew.
I don't know how to do it. I'd be like 600 pounds.
Just so you know, I'm not crying. It's sweat I'm wiping out of my eyes. It's freaking hot up here. Next guy I want you to comment on, Michael Lockett, who I was very impressed with in Chicago when he beat Sergio Oliva Jr. He was diced and sliced. Condition was right on, And
his legs look like they're symmetrical now. I mean,
I think he's gotten better at positioning them on stage.
He's a condition freak, man. Like you can't ignore him. His shape's kind of funky. He's put together a little different. It doesn't flow very well, but he's a freak show. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's going to be the most conditioned person in that show, period. Nobody's going to touch him. Like his glutes are just stupid looking.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind. I would never wear pants, dude. My glutes are that ripped. I would never wear fucking pants.
He told me that they're like that all year, he told me.
It's dumb. That's just like, I'm jealous. But, again, I say maybe like 13th to 14th where he falls, but he'll probably be the most impressive.
Yeah. It sounds like we're saying these guys suck if they're 13th to 14th, but this is in the entire world. You're the 13th or 14th best developed human being on planet Earth. It's not too shabby.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Next guy, I saw him win in Toronto, Juan Morel.
I like Juan. He busts his ass. Again, it's a long prep season, man. You know what I mean? And you just don't know. But, Juan, he brought his legs up a little bit. I don't think his legs, as people say his legs suck. I don't think it's that. Even from the side, his ham drop is just,
I'll give him credit. From the side, his hams are awesome. He's got great hams. It's his quads from the front. They just don't match this massive. I think all he needs is more quads, bigger and a little more sweep to him. And that's a top 5 Olympia guy,
Yeah, he's good, man. Juan's got a good physique. He's so thick and dense, and he comes in shape too. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that he still peaks no matter what.
Right.
He's got that crazy metabolism still. So, like you said, if his legs were a little bit bigger, he'd be crushing people.
Yeah. I've never seen one off at a show. I can't recall ever once. So props to him. I don't think I'm sure he diets and does a little bit of cardio. I hope it's not all genetic. But okay. The better half of Amanda Latona, Steve Kuklo. Steve qualified.
Steve, it's hard to say because I like Steve's physique, and he's gotten bigger gradually. He hasn't packed on a bunch of muscle, and he came in great condition earlier this year at the Arnold. Yeah. Steve, I think, is a top 10 guy. I think this year he'll crack that top 10. He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big.
He doesn't have very many weak points, Ron. You know what I mean? He's just big chest, his back's big, and he comes in condition now. Right. And he's getting that muscle maturity coming too. So I think Kuklo is a top 10 guy this year. I think he's going to finally break that top 10. This
is very nitpicky. I'm very nitpicky with these guys, as you know. I believe if his head was 30% smaller, he would look. You got to be. That's a genetic thing. How big is your head?
It is, man.
Paul Dillette had a little peanut head and these massive shoulders. It made him look like a cartoon character.
That is so true.
It's nothing he's going to do about. I'm not talking about it's from any drugs or anything. He's just a big. Right, he's a big boned kid, man. Big. He was a 225-pound teenage national heavyweight champion.
That's insane. He's got a big frame. He's got a huge frame.
Yeah.
And he's finally filled his frame out.
Right. All right. Last guy in the open we want to talk about is Ian Valliere, who will be marrying Chris Bumstead's sister Melissa later this year. Not a bad family to marry into.
Holy genetics.
Get some of those Bumstead genetics to your kids.
God.
This is a guy who wasn't on my radar last year as a pro. I had him. I admit when I write people off, and I just never had him pegged as someone who was going to be in the top echelon, and here he is. He's won a show. He just won it's a dumb name for a show.
Vancouver?
No. He won the Big Man Classic in Spain. Was it Portugal?
Wow.
No, Spain, yeah. I don't know.
Spain.
They need a better name, but he won the show, and that got him his ticket, as Sean punched his ticket, as Sean would say, to the Olympia. Yeah. I don't know. Have you had a chance to really look over that guy at all?
Yeah, I've seen some pictures online recently. Yeah. He's got a good frame, man. Again, you don't want him to get overlooked. You want him to get a good look, you know what I mean, and have him stand next to everybody he's supposed to stand next to. You know what I mean? He's got a great frame, his condition. He's huge. And like I say, he's not on a lot of people's radar, but like sometimes that can be good because a lot of people haven't seen you before. You come on, you just come out and boom, there you are. You know what I mean? So, but again, he'll be in shape. He looks phenomenal. But again, you want him to get a good look.
Yeah. We talk about people being overlooked, and that does happen. But again, we're talking about the best contest. This is the best, the most competitive bodybuilding event in the world. And everybody, I think if you saw any one of these guys in your gym, in the posing room, getting ready for the show, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy's perfect. Yeah. There's nobody that could beat this. But then they all get on stage together, 15 or 20 of them, and somebody's got to take first, somebody's got to take 20th. And sometimes you see guys with strided glutes, and they look really damn good, and they place last in the Olympia because it's the Olympia.
Exactly. Best in the world, man.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the 212. So this is Flex Lewis's last year. He's going for 7th straight title as a 212 champion. I don't really see anybody getting in his way because he seems, if you watch any of his social media videos, anything, he's fired up. He wants to go out with a bang and sign, sealed, and deliver that he was the best 212 ever. We'll be talking about him in the future as an open, I think. But are you looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to us his last time as a 212?
Dude, I remember we saw him in Tampa, and I just stared at him. I literally just sat and
that's his forearm like that.
I couldn't fathom what I was seeing. Yeah. I mean, his forearm just looked. It was just dumb. Like it was something like CGI created. Yeah. But he's gonna win. You know what I mean? We know he's gonna win. Yeah. It's just when he comes down to 212, he loses that pop that he has when he's heavier.
Yeah.
But he's still, listen, like you said, it's nitpicking. He's still the best 212 probably ever. But I think, it's probably time for him to make that move because he's holding himself back. You know what I mean? From his true potential. You know what I mean? But listen, it's been an honor watching this dude compete. Remember, he was 5th at the 202 show. Took a year up, came back and it's a wrap, man.
Yeah. I remember when he first started, he was 185 on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's put on.
He wasn't.
Well, let's see, 15, 20. He's put on about 25 pounds that we see now, but I think there's another 10 to 15 pounds that we never get to see because he has to suck it off to get to suck it off. He has to suck down to 212. where every video he's ever put out over the last, say, 3-4 years, about a month out from the show, where he's like 220, 225.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Actually, even 230, I've seen him look just so full, so round. And then he gets the Olympia, and you don't see that fullness around us because he had to get down to 212. But yeah, it speaks to how good he is that even depleted, which he is, I don't know how much he's able to carve back up and regain any of that fullness. He's still been able to win this thing 6 years in a row. He's that good.
Yeah. And he's at 230. He's still hard too.
Oh yeah.
That's what's crazy is he's hard at that weight, and he still has to come down even more.
Yeah.
So we're not getting the full up in maybe 2020. We'll see the true Flex Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, he posted a picture like 2 weeks ago where he was probably close to 230, and the glutes were in, the hams, everything was there already. So,
sick, man.
Okay, now second place 2 years in a row. We can't forget about Kuwait's Ahmad Ashkanani with the craziest back. After Phil Heath, it's probably the craziest back in pro bodybuilding today. And he's 5'3". He's about 4.5 feet wide. But I don't know. I haven't seen him really get better since he started competing at the Olympia. I just see kind of the same thing every year from him. And I don't know if his legs. Was it him that we heard he had a knee operation this year though?
That was somebody was saying. Yeah, somebody mentioned he had a knee operation. But listen, I think the last few shows, the Arnold and the Olympia past, he's gotten a favorable placing. Because listen, David Henry beat him at the Arnold. Jose beat him at the Olympia. And I mean, Jose beat him in Kuwait. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just. He's huge.
Not officially, Mike. Officially, Ahmad won all the beat them.
Officially, right? Yeah, but he's huge. But I don't know how much more he can improve. He's right at the limit for 212. You know what I mean? And he's full, Ron. He's so full. You know what I mean at that weight too. But the leg separation, you can't ignore that anymore. You just can't. I don't know how much was from the surgery or what, but when you got other guys in that that top 5. Top 6 guys that have good quads and separation,
right?
It's a tale of two halves.
I mean, so the two things could be going on with this knee surgery. He could either be in a position where now he's able to train his legs better and they're going to look better, or it might have impeded his training. He lost some training time, and his legs could look worse. I mean, we're not going to know until 2 weeks from Friday at the Expo when they hit that stage. Third place last year was Jose, and Jose has announced this is his final Olympia, 10th in a row, and last time up there. That's going to be I hope he goes over and gives a speech and makes us all cry and everything, but it's been a hell of a ride with Jose, and he's still third place last year. This guy's still on top of his game. It's been pretty cool to watch because this is 25 years of competing all in all for him now. Wow.
It's just I'm lucky I'm going to be able to see him for his last show. But you would have never thought 20 years ago that Tito's little brother would be one of the best 212 guys ever.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And he looks from the picture. He looks absolutely like a freak show.
Yeah.
A total freak show, dude. He was doing a back training video on YouTube, and I'm just sitting there looking like he's full, he's veiny. You know what I mean? So he's got mature muscle. Like him and David Henry and Flex, they have that mature look to their bodies, man.
Right.
So it's going to be good to see him go out. You would love to see him go out with a win. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But just being able to see Jose one last time, give it one last hurrah, and I'm sure Bob will give him a speech. You know what I mean? So I can't wait.
See, I'm kind of torn because I want to see Flex go out with a win because that's I want to see him cap off his career. But Jose, same thing. I'd love to see him finally get a win because Flex already has 6.
Exactly.
It's not going to come down to who deserves it or who the sentimental. It's going to come down to whoever the judges decide deserves it. But
exactly.
I'm torn because I want them both to win. I'm a
fanboy for everybody. That first call out's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Dave Henry, we can't forget about Dave. Dave, I'm going to apologize once again, even though I already did it in Tampa. I erroneously passed on some gossip. I don't know where I heard it, that he was retiring. He is not retiring. Which props to him because he's the same age as Jose, I believe. He's 44.
Yeah.
And he's been doing this a long time. He was competing in Olympia. He made top 10 before there was a lightweight division added to it.
Yeah.
And he was the first 202 Olympia champion. People forget that. But it's a similar situation to, Ahmad. If Henry, his legs actually, they're not lacking in size. It's the sweep, which, you have great quad sweep. I have pretty decent quad sweep. Cutler had amazing. I think it's all genetic. I hate to say that because I don't want to discourage people and say don't do close stance leg press or hack squats. I think you can improve your sweep to a certain extent, but if you have straight up and down quads, they're never going to be like whoosh. I just don't think that, But
no, your muscle shape is just genetic, man. Like I'm never gonna have Robbie Robinson type peak biceps. You know what I mean? Like David Henry won't have legs like Platt's, but they're not as bad as people think. They go, oh, he's got no legs. His legs maybe aren't, like you said, the sweep isn't like great, but they get strided. And when his glutes and hams are on, he's hard to beat. Like David Henry is when he's 100% with his crazy roundness, he's a tough out. Like he's a tough people forget, sometimes that how good this guy really is. Like you said, he was top 10 in the Open Olympia. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like competing against those monsters like Cutler and Melvin Anthony, those guys. So, and he's done phenomenal. And he's again another guy. There's about 3 or 4 guys that can place, 2nd through 6 in the show.
Eduardo's not even qualified. I would say I don't have him on my list, but he's not qualified. But just a one thing before we close out on Henry is, like you were saying, when Kanani won the Arnold Classic last year, 2017, Dave Henry was like lights out. That might have been the best I've ever seen him. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is Dave. If Dave doesn't win this, I'm going to eat my hat. So I had to eat my hat. But yeah, Dave looks phenomenal. He's still holding it. Okay, fanboy time. Derek Lunsford, another Midwestern Indiana cat. It's kind of been a controversial subject because, he's been all over social media. I don't think he's disrespected. A couple posts early on where he said who wins this shot could be looked at that way, but I think he's just really excited, enthusiastic about being in the Olympia again and being part of this and being up there with the guys he's looked up to. And he's the real deal. He's a kid. He's 24, 25. And like we said, that structure. You saw him win Tampa last year. Clavicles out to here. Small, tight midsection. Vacuum. Back is phenomenal. All he really needed was a little more legs. And I think from the pictures, it looks like he's brought them up a good amount since a year ago. Yeah.
Dude, a guy like this doesn't come along very often. To where they've got that great structure, small waist, a good work ethic. He's good, and he's going to be great. He could place second place at this show. I mean, his shape is phenomenal. Dude. He's got, I don't want to say perfect shape, but he's got phenomenal shape. But again, we have to see him next to the old school guys. The only thing he's missing is maturity. And when you look at a lineup, you can see the maturity. Like you can kind of see that on their physiques. Like Dexter has that old man muscle. Like Jose's got that look. David Henry flex, Kanani, but like Lunsford's got that fresh muscle. That front double bicep, like is just it takes you back a minute, man, because it's so good. But this guy's going to be dominating the sport very soon. Yeah. But listen, the post, that's great. Listen, if I look like that too, man, who knows? Who knows how we would act? But everybody all wants to be humble. Listen. Talk some shit, man. It's your physique's going to do the talking for you. Right. So you know what I mean. Just have a little fun with it. But Lunsford's the real deal. That kid is legit.
Yeah, it's the whole being humble thing. I do think humility is a great character trait, but at the same time, they're all training to win. There can only be one winner. If Jose says, "I believe I can beat Flex Lewis," is that him being arrogant? No. If Dave Henry says it, it's. You talk about having to pay your dues and stuff, but I don't really believe in that. If you're good, you're good. Lev Roney, Flex, these guys, Cormier, right out of the gate, they were really good pros. It didn't take. Yeah. Nobody said, "Well, Flex really didn't pay his dues. This is only his first season or second season. He shouldn't be winning shows yet." Oh well, his physique was that great. It did win shows right away. Yeah. Boom. So like you said, a little more maturity, which is going to come with time, and we'll see. Because I got trashed for saying he's the future. There's a lot of good guys coming up, as we know, and they're all going to be the future.
They are, but it's hard to like not. You can see a great physique, but we don't know how if he's gonna be injury free, if he's gonna get distracted. But when you see that kind of physique and what it's capable of in like 5 years, it blows your mind, dude.
Right. So when I interviewed Jose last week, we talked about people. Like I said, anybody could win. These guys are. None of them are unbeatable. None of them are that dominant that no one has a chance. Like with Phil. Phil's kind of unbeatable at this point, pretty much with the field that's out there. But he talked about Charles the Tank Dixon as being someone who's not really being talked about, but Jose thinks he's good enough that he could potentially win the show. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't know if he could win the show, but a 100% Tank Dixon is very impressive.
Yeah,
he's got so much muscle on his frame. Yeah, I don't know how much bigger he can get. He's shorter than Jose, I think, too.
Yeah, I believe
so. He can play. There's a lot of guys that can place top 5. That the race for that top 5 is tight. You know what I mean? We have our favorites, obviously, but there's no reason Tank Dixon can't place. No reason Sean Clarita can't slip in there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys that are capable, you know what I mean, of getting into that top 5.
Let's talk about Sean Clarita for a minute. He claims to be 5'2", and I don't want to put him down and saying he's short because I don't think that's a bad thing. Your height is what it is. Flavio Boccianini was 4'10", for God's sake.
Yeah.
But I believe he was about 170 when he won the New York Pro and qualified. But look, so he's giving up, theoretically he's giving up 40 pounds to these other guys. But pound for pound, based on his height and the bone structure and everything, he looks to be almost as big as any of these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think top 5 is out of question for him at all.
He looks humongous. Like he looks big, way bigger than he is. And when you say 170, it kind of blows your mind because it's such an illusion. And he's made so many improvements every single year. He's put muscle on, and to where now he's a legit top 5. Won New York Pro. Even in Kuwait last year, he looked absolutely silly. That might have been his best condition I've ever seen. But he always comes in shape, and he busts his ass, man. Yeah, you got to respect that, And he's growing slowly. You know what I mean? He's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think like 4 or 5 pounds on him, it will just look insane. You know what I mean? That's a lot of muscle for a guy that size.
When I met him, he was competing in the WNBF or something at like 135 pounds. He was a little peanut. I mean, he looks like he ate that. He ate that Sean Clarita. All right, some guys. Now, the Hadi Chupan situation. He's qualified, but he is qualified, right?
He's qualified.
Yeah, he's qualified to win. But I don't think there's any way in hell he's getting into the United States, right?
I don't know what the issue is. I'm not into the whole politics shit, but I don't know what he did to where he can't get into the United States. But if he did,
he couldn't get into Canada for Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Maybe if Joe Weider was alive, Joe could pull some strings because back then it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But this guy is scary good. You know what I mean? He's really good. And I guess everybody sees 212 obviously because he competes in the class, but he looks a lot bigger than 212.
Right.
He looks like 225, man. He looks that good. He pushed Cedric in that show last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Cedric was phenomenal, but he held his own.
Oh, so he was right there with him, pose for pose.
Yeah,
for sure. And Giles made a point of letting people know that he talked to Hadi and found out that he was 212 or under at that show. Everyone said, well, at that show, the San Marino, he must have been like 220, 230. No, it's just an illusion because condition and muscle maturity and detail, that's the muscle maturity on that guy.
And you look bigger. The more conditioned you are, the bigger you look on stage. And those guys there's a freak show. Like we nitpick, but those guys, it's a total freak show, number of respect. But he's just he's a beast, man.
Yeah. So we saw Portugal is where he won. That's where he qualified. And he beat the little kid. He's not a kid. Switzerland's Nicolas Veloud, who we saw win in Tampa. I think Nicolas is a work in progress. He's got some issues with his physique that could be better, and he's aware of it. And his coach Patrick Tour, they're aware of it. But peeled to the bone, do you think he could get a good look?
He can definitely get a look. He's got a lot of muscle. Like he has a ton of thick, old school muscle, like those big quads and calves and the arms. His back is what's going to hold him back because there's a lot of good guys in the show with great backs. But again, he's a kid, man. Yeah. And, his back lat spread isn't bad because he's got a wide back. His glutes are just ridiculous, like old school, Tommy Thorlbison glutezilla glutes. You know what I mean? Right. So, but again, he's he may have he's going to have some issues. Yeah. But he's got the muscle, and he's going to get bigger and better. But again, in this lineup, he may struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's for lack of trying. He's got a long torso, and the lats. It makes it look like he has high lats and this long waist, and we've seen other physiques like that, and there's not a lot you can do about it. He's just going to have to keep up building his back up. And over time, maybe the lower lat development will compensate to a point. We need to talk about some other guys real quick. Zane Watson from Canada, who was one of the more improved guys. He's done the Olympia before. Did not get a look at all. Was one of the guys on the sidelines, but saw him take a very close second in New York to Clarita, and then I saw him a week or two later in Toronto beat Cody Montgomery in the rest of the 212s, and I was impressed with him. It's posing. That's a classic bodybuilder to me. It's just the shape, the proportions, the presentation. Not the biggest guy compared to someone like a Jose, obviously, or a Flex. These guys are an Kanani. They're tanks. I believe Zane is about 5'7", so he's one of the taller 212s. But you've seen him before. What are your impressions of Zane?
He's a conditioned freak, man. Like that's what you love about him because he gets so peeled and so detailed. But he does look taller next to against Clarita. He looked like Godzilla. You know what I mean? He looks like a basketball player. But he's got a freak factor to him, man. That just you can't help but notice. So I want to see him next to those other guys. He probably won't look as dense as like Jose or David Henry or Flex, but he's got a great shape. His posing, I hope he gets a chance to pose because his posing's a real treat. You know what I mean? Though they usually only the top 5 go pose at the O, which I wish I had the top 10 pose because Zane can pose, man. Classical posing. He nails them too, which you don't see that kind of posing anymore.
No, it's one of the few routines when when he's on, I hate the fact that I have to keep looking down at my phone because he's one of the few that I wish I could just sit there and watch the routine and not have to do the play-by-play. It's posing. I catch it later on video, but I mean, it's that good. So Kamal El-Gardni, who before this season, I had never heard of the guy, and Giles is telling me at the Arnold, at the meet and greet thing, the Thursday night, he's all alone in the corner, nobody's going up to him, and I was like, oh, this poor bastard, This poor guy, he looks like he's from somewhere in the Middle East. He's going to get his ass handed to him, and he's going to go home Sunday or Monday all bummed out. Typical. I'm wrong 99% of the time on these things. And he dominated the show. He was the only one in there was only 7 guys, and they got rid of the Arnold 212 division for next year apparently. But Kamal is someone I don't think we're talking about enough because Giles has been putting out pictures of him. He looks pretty tough. Yeah.
He looked at the Arnold. I had no idea who he was. Like, no clue. But, I mean, when you saw him in the Arnold, he held his own, and he started looking more and more, and like, this guy could win this show. He was peeled, man. He was peeled. He was hard. He was full. He not being known may help him, again, because he may come on and hit that front double bicep and just blow everybody away. But you're going to have to give him a good look because he's going to be in shape. If you could win the Arnold Classic and beat Jose, David Henry, Charles Dixon, you're no slouch. You know what I mean? That's like the Mount Rushmore, a couple of those guys of the 212 division, dude.
Yeah, we've been having those Mount Rushmore threads lately for some reason. Who would you have on Bible and Mount Rushmore? But Jose and David were admittedly off at the Arnold.
Yeah.
I'm pretty damn sure they're not going to be off at the Olympia. I don't think they would be, but we'll see what happens. You never know.
Yeah.
Talking about someone who's been talking a little bit of smack online, making some posts, Dwayne Kwamina, who, again, I never heard of until he won. It was one of the very last shows in the season last year. Was it the Phoenix Pro? Yeah. And he's put some size on this guy. Every year he puts on. I think since he turned pro, he's put on like 25 pounds of muscle or something already. He's a little freak. Any evaluation on him? Yeah. What do you think about Dwayne?
I've only seen a few poses of him. Okay, you're the most muscular, and I think he had a back double bicep. So we haven't seen the front a lot of poses to see what he really looks like. And then Phoenix wasn't the Olympia.
No,
but I'm being very nitpicky. He looks great. He's got phenomenal shape. He's dense. He got in shape really fast because he was heavy.
Yeah, he was a butterball.
Dude, he peeled that shit up quick.
Yeah.
But you got to see him next to Jose. You know what I mean? Like, because it might be it's going to be a different ball game. You know what I mean? Because it's like when people win the state show, they go right to the Miami Nationals.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Well, I agree. He won a smaller show, and like I said, you got to be confident. You got to believe in yourself. Absolutely, they're all training to win, but he hasn't stood next to anyone of the caliber. He's going to be sharing the stage with some badass guys. Some guys that are no joke, and we'll see how it shakes out for him. Last guy I'll talk about, we've got Sammy Alhaddad, who's always good, and Ricardo Correa, Rude Boy, who I didn't pay a lot of attention to him until last year too, and he started coming up the ranks. Had a decent showing at the Olympia. I believe Giles said he had spilled over or something, but he's somebody that we could. I'm sure he's going to be in the top 10 if he's in shape. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, dude. I saw him. He was guest posing a couple weeks ago. I saw a video. He was in shape. Okay. He was ready. It's just the 212 division is the best division in the sport. Period. The most competitive, I think, division, and you got 12 or 13 great guys. But you have like 5 or 6 elite guys.
Right.
So they're all fighting for that piece of the pie, man. And something's got to give. And unfortunately, Correa's a great bodybuilder. Sammy his track record speaks for itself. Yeah. Sammy competed against Jose and Dave Henry. He's as good as those guys. Yeah. But this year is going to be a battle for some of the other guys to get noticed and get those top comparisons.
I hate to use this word because to me this is one of the most overused words in our sport, bar none. But this Olympia is stacked. I hate when people place badly and they say the class was stacked, and I look at it, there's like 4 people in it. I'm like, it wasn't that stacked.
Exactly.
Maybe you had a stack of pancakes after the show, but the class was stacked. All right, well, the last division we need to talk about is the newest division in the Olympia, Classic Physique. We got Breanna Ansley, who's currently in Kuwait. I believe he's headed home pretty soon. He's going to spend the last 2 weeks in LA, which is a good move. I wouldn't want to go directly from Kuwait to Vegas. No. But he took the title last year, and he's gonna do his damnedest to keep it this year. I don't know if you've been checking everyone else out that we'll talk about, but who do you see giving him trouble? Where do you think Breanna really gets these guys?
Breanna is when I think of classic, there's a few guys that come to mind. Like Breanna does. Terrence Ruffin comes to mind. Yeah. But Breanna is just he outconditions you. Mm-hmm. He's not the biggest guy by far.
Yeah, he's 170 pounds.
That's crazy to me, man. But he looks so much bigger. But every inch of his physique is peeled. His adductors, his quads are separated, hamstrings, glutes. He poses so well. However, like Bumstead looks really good. Like he's very impressive. He looks really. It's apples and oranges, though, Ron. It's which do you prefer? The bigger classic physique guy or the smaller classic physique guy?
I mean, the thing with Bumstead, we'll talk about him too, is he's very impressive. I'm a big Chris Bumstead fan. I'm a big Breanna fan. I'm a fanboy. But Chris, like we've said, the 2 areas that he has trouble with compared to Breanna are his arms and his back, and those are 2 very strong points. Breon's back, the only guy with a better back in classic is George Peterson. But if we talk about who is more of a classic physique, like you said, there's only a couple guys I really look at and think classic physique.
Exactly.
I think classic bodybuilder with really nice shape. And Bumstead's been working hard. He's still a kid. He's only 23. He's already been second in the world last year when he was 22. So, anything could happen. I mean, it's not out of the question that Chris could win this.
No.
And,
no.
A lot of people would be happy. He's got a huge following. Social media, the kids that don't know jack shit about or care about the competitive side of the sport, he's one of those people that they all follow on Instagram and all that.
And this division, I think this division too, man, is like you can have a different champion every year. Like there's not one guy that's just that good because it's so new too. The physiques are so different.
Yeah.
That I think every year, if a guy keeps his title more than 2 years in a row, that's impressive. Right. Because there's nobody that's that dominant in this division just yet.
Right. I mean, this would be, if Breanna wins, that's just a 2-time champion, which, the division, this is only the third year that they had an Olympia title, so that's pretty damn good. Third place last year, George Peterson. I think if they had another category, please don't get any ideas, Mr. Mannion, please. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want any more divisions. Please, these contests go on for a long time. But if they had a classic bodybuilding, two of the guys I think would kick ass and dominate, George Peterson and Asha Rabar. To me, they don't have the type of physiques that I necessarily associate. Like, just that frame and that shape. It's hard to define. You know it when you see it. But George Peterson, incredibly impressive, muscle density, shape. That back is just out of control. Puts up pictures. His condition right now is probably better than 90% of the other guys are going to have at the show. I just don't know if the Bull, that's what he calls himself, D-A-B-U-L-L. I don't know. He was third place, so you certainly can't write him off or say he's not going to be in the top. He's going to be in the running again. But I mean, him and Arash, who I was very impressed with Arash at the Arnold this year when he was fighting off Breanna. He was really, really pushing him.
I like Arash. I like his physique a lot. There's something about his physique. He's got like a bodybuilder's physique in classic. Yeah. He's kind of almost freaky, but not quite freaky yet. You know what I mean? He's full. He's hard. I thought he won Columbus. I would have had him win in Columbus. But
could have gone either way.
This is one guy I'm very impressed with. Super impressed with Arash.
To me, he's like a bigger version of Frank Zane. Like if Frank Zane had put on 20 pounds of muscle, he would have been Asha Rabar, basically.
Yeah.
Dani Hester coming back. He was the first champ. Dani's, I believe he already turned 49, so he'll be, I believe, the oldest man on that stage. And I'm not putting him down. I'll be 49 in a couple weeks. But do you think he still has a chance at this, or was he kind of had his shot that first year and dominated and got that title?
He got the title the first year, which he deserved. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, he deserved it, but I think it was also good because Dani's been at it for so long. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember seeing him at the 93 USA as a middleweight. Yep. 93, and now he's still competing, and he looks great. He has a classic physique, but I think the other guys are getting a lot bigger than he is. Yeah. You remember when Darren Charles, he started with classic? Yeah. They outgrew him. The same thing I be happening with Dani. I know he'll be top 5. Yeah. But it may be 5th, it may be 4th. I think you have some guys that are
I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will be top 5. And I like Dani a lot. We go back to 1991. It's nothing. When I talk about these guys, I hope they know it's never personal. I love Dani. I think he's the coolest guy ever. I don't know if he's going to make top 5. This class gets tougher and tougher and tougher every year. These guys are coming out of the woodwork. Like this Wesley Vissers. I never heard of him. Yeah. And then I saw him in Tampa or Chicago. I'm sorry, and he wasn't even at his best, and he won. And, some of these guys, the potential we're seeing is just phenomenal for the future.
I wasn't a big fan of this class until a couple of weeks ago in Tampa. These guys are phenomenal, dude. Like, was Henry the guy that won in Tampa?
Henri Pierre.
This guy yes, he can be top 3 here. I think he's that good. His posing is phenomenal, and he was peeled. His back double bicep is crazy how wide he is and how he holds his legs. And he just slightly twists a little bit. It's just a perfect shot. Yeah. And he can pose. He was full hard. I like this guy a lot. Like, I think he can upset a lot of people.
See, how do you judge? I'm glad I'm not. I think judges have one of the hardest jobs ever.
Yeah.
If you have Breanna Ansley at 5'6" or whatever he is, I don't know what he is, 5'5", 5'6", 5. I don't think he's 5'7". You have him here, and you have that type of physique, and then you have Henri Pierre, who's 6 foot or 6'1". They're so completely different. As a judge, if they're both 100% in condition, I don't know what to do.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Maybe you need classic physique height classes. Man.
Damn it. They're gonna
do it that way.
Well, you gotta have an overall at the end, right?
Yeah, but it's hard to because they're so different physiques. They contrast so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Breanna's got another guy like George that's kind of similar in height.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tall. Bumstead's a tall guy. Yeah. So it's real hard to kind of whatever they prefer, how they go about choosing the physique that they prefer.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a toss-up.
This Vissers, Wesley Vissers from Netherlands, I think he's like 6'2".
Yeah.
He's another young kid with he's basically like another Arnold. I mean, even he needs a little more wheels. It's kind of like Arnold did back in the day if he was competing today. Very similar physique to Arnold. It's kind of eerie.
He's a star.
I don't know if he's a star in the making. I don't know if he's ready to really launch all the way to the top here or not. I guess we'll find out. You know,
I think if magazines were around now, he would be on the cover of every magazine. He would be that muscle tech dude in the ad with like Marla Duncan. That's who he would be. You know what I mean?
I think Bumstead would get some covers, I think.
Oh yeah, Bumstead would. It'd be a total different world. I can see it now. Like, but he's got a true classic physique. Yeah. That is what you think of when you think of classic, and he poses like it too.
Right.
And you know, a lot of these guys, I give them credit because they present themselves so good. You know, even certain guys probably shouldn't pose that way, but the guys that could and can, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to throw. We were in Tampa and we saw all the classic physique pros, and you know, a lot of them didn't belong up there because they were just failed bodybuilders that somehow squeaked into a pro card. I don't know how or where. Sorry guys, if you feel this is directed personally toward you, it's never personal with me. I'm just talking about physiques. You're probably the nicest guy in the world. You probably save orphans and shit. But the posing is one thing. They can't control if they have a wide waist. That's just genetic. But posing and presentation is something anybody could work on and get a lot better at. And when you see somebody like a Zane Watson or a Wesley Vissers, some of these people, how Hester is a great poser. Terrence Ruffin, oh my God. Incredible poser. I mean, you want to stand up and clap like that. That's posing. Like Arnold said in Pumping Iron about Ed Corney. But anybody could get better at posing if they put the time and effort into it. And if you can't on your own, hire a coach. There's posing coaches out there.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. If you're going to be doing classic physique, guys, and you're a shit poser, hire somebody, or you got to get better, because I know you don't think that that's important, but if classic is supposed to be bringing us back to the ideals of the old days with Arnold and Franco and Robbie Robinson, Lou Ferrigno, Ed Corney, these guys were all excellent posers, excellent. Frank Zane. So step up your game, guys. Terrence Ruffin, I just had him on Ronline last week, and wow, we saw him. I saw him win in Toronto. Very impressed with him. Size-wise, I don't know. He's been sixth place at the Olympia before, so it's not that there's a lack of size. Some of these guys have a little more roundness and fullness to them. Yeah. But again, he's another kid. He's 24 years old. He's going to be getting bigger and better. He's still got, I think he said, 12 pounds for his height that he could still gain and fit within the current parameters of the height and weight restrictions. Yeah. You know, I don't know. Have you ever seen Terrence compete?
Terrence, I think he's going to be Mr. Classic Physique, Mr. Olympia one day. Yeah. When he fills out, he has such a beautiful physique, but he presents it so perfectly, and he moves so perfectly. You just want to sit. You can't move watching a pose. Right. You know, he's like a Bob Paris type Labrada, you know, like more twin, because his transition poses are amazing, and so are his poses that he hits. Yeah. You don't see a lot of people that can transition very well. It's just hit a pose, turn this way. Hit a pose.
You know what's a good giveaway of someone who's a master of transitions? When I'm taking my crappy pictures with my iPhone, I catch guys in between poses a lot of times. I have to delete. This picture sucks. Can't post that. And I remember in Toronto, every picture I took of Ruffin, whether he was in the pose or between poses, you could have posted it. It was a good shot. He never lets his gut hang. Well, he doesn't have a gut, obviously. He's got a tiny little waist. But someone like that, they know that they're being watched from every angle at all times, and everything is always presented as such. And he's someone to watch for the future. Just a couple more guys we'll talk about, and then we're all done. Regan Grimes, who made the move from bodybuilding at the very last minute, was supposed to be a bodybuilder New York pro, dropped like 25 pounds in 2 days or something ridiculous, and won. But a lot of guys say Regan's not a classic physique guy. He's a bodybuilder who somehow squeezed into the weight limit. And this is, you know, they call people are butthurt because he didn't get to 300 pounds in Kuwait and do all the things that they wish he would have done. But, you know, that's a debate. Does someone like a Regan, who's really a bodybuilder, does that physique belong on the classic physique stage, and how would you place him if he's in top condition?
I love Reagan's physique. I didn't get off. People got so offended that he didn't do bodybuilding. It was smart. Why do a show where you're not gonna be competitive?
Right.
He was a smart kid, and he belongs in right now. He belongs in this division. I mean, eventually he would be a great bodybuilder if he fills out slowly. But right now he's legit. I think he's a top 5 guy if he's in great condition. He's maybe, like I say, he's not a typical Terrence Ruffin type, classical like that. Yeah. But he's got wide shoulders, tiny waist, great muscle shape, great round bellies. He belongs in this class right now, and it needs him. Like this class is loaded with talent, and Reagan's one of those guys now.
It's funny how every time I put up, if I'm going to interview a classic guy for Ronline, I post a thread and I say questions for so-and-so, and no matter who it is, if they're in classic, someone will say, do you plan on moving to open? As if they should all aspire to that. Like nobody should ever want to stay in classic. It's like a temporary thing while they're on the way to open or something. But for a lot of these guys that we talked about, this is the division for them, and they would be morons to move into the open. Morons.
Why bother? Like, why? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. They're going to risk their health. It's going to take, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of risk to put on the size that they would need to be standing next to Big Rami and Phil Heath and Bonac. And, why? Why would you do that to yourself? All right, last guy we'll talk about is New York's Steve Laureus, who made his pro debut earlier this year. He actually did 2. He won the Pennsylvania Classic Physique show, the Pittsburgh one, and then had a disastrous run as a 212 a couple weeks later in New York, which I don't think he'll ever do that again. But great physique on this kid, man. What a shape. Incredible biceps. Waist is like non-existent, flaring quads. But, again, I've never seen him next to any of these high-level guys, so we don't know.
It's you said you have to see all these guys compared, but Steve's got such a good look to him. He's beautiful physique. Yeah. Phenomenal. And it goes to show that these guys aren't bodybuilders yet. They're classic physique guys. But like you said, the 212 show, that's not for him. You know what I mean? Like that's just, and a lot of fans want to see that so bad. Oh, how they do? Yeah. Well, this is how they would do. You know what I mean? Breanna did a show a while ago, didn't turn out too well. Right. But like I said, Steve, it's baptism by fire, man. Like these are the best in the world. It's not Pennsylvania. It's not Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? It's this total different ball game. You're dealing with like someone that went to Kuwait to train for this show. You know what I mean? This isn't LA Fitness, or Family Fitness Center. So this is the real deal. It's the big time. So it may be an eye-opening experience for Steve, but he'll hold his own.
Okay. And better if you bring Mike to Kuwait, can I go too? Just putting that out there. All right.
Yes,
All right, man. Well, we've been talking for over an hour in Vegas. I'm going to track you down and get some more commentary because people love hearing from you, Mike. You're a cool guy.
I cannot wait. Catch me early in Vegas because, it's Vegas.
That's okay. You know what? If I catch you inebriated, I think that'd be an even better interview, honestly.
Oh, that'll be like a million views. Trust me, we'll do it.
All right, MD people, I will do that. I'm making a note of that right now. I'm gonna track Mike down when he's been hitting some places, and we'll see. Anyway, we're all looking forward to hanging out a little bit. It's gonna be a fast weekend. Goes right by, as you know, these Olympias. But you went before it was like the Vegas experience. You went back to just a regular show.
It was like 4 classes. That's it.
It's the expo is actually not as big as Arnold, but it's not that much smaller. It's a good size expo. It takes you at least a full day, to see all the booths. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Well, a couple times. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. We're going to be talking more about the Olympia as we get closer to the show. High Tech Pharmaceuticals is, once again, our sponsor. They're making it possible for us to bring our crew out there. We got word. I'm not supposed to say anything about that. Never mind. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. So Mike Cox, Big Mike Cox, thank you so much for your insights and commentary. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir. And
appreciate it.
I will see you in Las Vegas. Yeah, buddy.
15 days.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.